Hello and welcome to your reading. This is about karmic knots, karmic traps, karmic cages, somewhere where you feel pinched off or blocked out of, a state that you'd like to shift, an experience that you'd like to have or create, something that's not manifesting in your hologram that you suspect has an incarnational template or imprinting to it. So that's what this reading is going to be about. And remember, this is a collective reading, so there have been many experiences that we have gone through as collectives in previous lifetimes, so there will be some similarities in the imprints or the woundings that we carry with us today. What's different is our individuation and the way that we process those experiences, and our own energy and consciousness and structure is unique. And just keep in mind that something that doesn't quite resonate is probably just not yours. So we have 3 groups for you today. The first one is going to be read through this 10 of Pentacles card, if you feel drawn to that, or this cowrie shell. It's group 1. Okay. Group 2 is the 9 of Pentacles and or the abalone shell. And group 3 is the Fool card along with or the clamshell. So take your time to make your choice. If you need to, you may already be feeling drawn to 1 or maybe 2 different piles. Pause the video if you need a little bit more time, and I'll see you what you're reading. Group 1, hello those of you who chose the 10 of Pentacles or the cowrie shell. Thank you so much for being here. So let's get started on your reading. Group 1, just give a little shuffle first. We'll start with getting the story of this imprint. What is the karmic imprint that we are talking about today, so you can recognize yourself in the reading? Okay. Justice, Judgment, Ace of Pentacles, and the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. Okay, so let's start here. What is the karmic imprint that group 1 is dealing with, please? Okay, so you are someone who is of a very right and fair mind. You like for things to be balanced and correct. Equality and equanimity is very important to you. Justice, fairness, that situations are carried through in a way that is integral to the greater whole. And the imprint is multiple experiences of you seeing how situations, circumstances in your life or in society at large were not living up to these ideals, to these standards, these principles of fairness and correct rule. So you may have encountered situations of witnessing corruption or selfishness, people in positions of power abusing their power for selfish gain rather than considering the well-being of the collective at large. And this has left you feeling quite disappointed and perhaps even a little bit cynical about humanity or people in positions of authority, or those who claim to be good and just. Perhaps even the legal system itself you find yourself distrusting or have been betrayed by, or know people who have been betrayed by the system where the outcome was not correct according to what looked and felt and seemed fair for you. So you are constantly coming into contact with situations where it's the, I don't want to say the wrong person who wins, but maybe the energy or the benefit flows to the one who is perceived as the underhanded player. Yeah, so these are experiences that you keep witnessing and maybe even feel like your loved ones are having this kind of experience as well, and it's making you feel quite angry and closed down, like shutting down from the world, disconnecting, not wanting to participate because you see it all as just landing in the laps of those who don't deserve it, who don't have pure hearts. So that's the imprint. So let's continue here and see what else we need to know about this right now. So I'm going to keep it a little bit open. We're not jumping into advice, but what else do we need to know about this imprint? Whether it has to do with healing it here and now, how it's showing up for you here and now, something that you need to adjust, or what happened in the past. Just what's important to know, please. Say about healing this imprint. What's important to know? Too many cards. Okay, the Fool in reverse. Thank you. We need a fresh start. Yes, group 1. Perhaps if you are in a conflictual situation at the moment, it would benefit you to extract yourself from it, or at least disengage temporarily so that you can refresh your thinking patterns about it and not approach it with so much suspicion, because the suspicion actually is blinding you from perceiving as the Emperor. You're already casting a shadow on the people involved before you evaluate correctly. So, paradoxically, you are the one perpetuating this imprint and perceiving through a lens that is not fair. You need to go back to neutral. Yes, see how the 5 of Wands and the 7 of Swords are sort of in between the Emperor and the Fool? Yes. So you need to disengage from this very granular level of battle where you are analyzing and checking and suspecting every single element of the situation or the conversation. Every word is under the microscope because you're looking for the culprit. You want to find the lies. You want to see how this person potentially is trying to use or exploit the situation. You already believe going in, it's in your eyes that the person is not going to be true automatically. Whether they are or not, you don't know, because you've judged them, prejudged them. So you need to clear the slate here and come back to an innocent, pure mind. So you don't need to forget your experiences or make yourself naive as to what can happen or what has happened, but it would serve you much better to just make it a game, perhaps, of observing the situation as if nothing had ever happened, and you're going in with a pure heart and pure eyes to assess from that perspective, not with this filter that already these people are crooks, because then you won't have the Emperor's position. Okay, so let's see, next, Temperance. Okay, very nice. So we're getting into the advice portion now, although Group 1 strikes me as someone who's very independent, and does not really like or want advice. So maybe what we can say is, what do you need to see about this imprint that you have not yet seen? Wow, okay, let's take those. A surprise Ace of Cups under the Temperance, and let me just set these up so you can see them all somehow. Alright, 3 of Swords, the Star, Wheel of Fortune, 7 of Pentacles, 7 of Wands, and the King of Cups. Let's put the King of Cups right here. Okay, so what you haven't seen, actually, because of this wound, this block in your heart, is that the situation could be very, very fruitful. It could be made into something very beautiful. So it is one where there's a social network involved, a group of people, a community, perhaps people who are collected around the particular project, or like creative adventure, business adventure, whatever it might be. And there is a lot of potential here for all of you to really succeed and enjoy the fruits of your labor. It's a very beautiful collection of souls that are together, and you have known each other before, many of you, and it's not a mistake that you all have come together on this mission, but it is the infighting and the suspicion of one another that's pausing the project and making it halt in its tracks. So no one here is to blame. You need to get out of this drama triangle, stop playing victim victimizer. It's more of a manipulation to get you to undermine this whole venture that you're going on, because what you're going to create from here is going to benefit you and many people. So do not fall into the trap of projecting or reenacting this old imprint, this old wound onto those who are actually here with you to help. Yes, so this is actually an interpersonal karmic knot where there were situations in the past incarnations that you were collaborating together, and maybe there was a Judas, so to speak, forgive the reference, or like a snake in the grass, somebody like a mole who was planted to disturb the harmony, disturb the peace, whispering in one person's ear, like practicing triangulation and trying to turn people against each other in a like intent manner. So it's like you're playing Clue and everyone's looking at everybody like who's the murderer, because it could be anybody, but actually it's none of you. You're all pure of heart. I don't see in this particular situation, but use your best judgment, that the mole is present among you. The best advice I can give you here is to work out this imprint, to heal the karmic knot, the template, so that you can see it again with clear vision rather than through the lens of this distortion. So maybe a regression therapy or some kind of healing to help you connect with and through, work with that suspicion that you feel, or that heavy heart about not being able to trust people to be fair and just and honest. Those are portals into the original wounding where this situation was created, and discovering what that is and healing those energies, clearing those energies from your hologram. It'll be much more straightforward to sense with truth and with your heart who is real and who isn't. So get out of the mind with these analytical suspicion games, because you're just going to be thinking all the same thoughts over again, and you won't have enough information to conclude anything real. Because if you always suspect that somebody's telling you a lie, it doesn't matter what they say, and your mind is going to come up with many different combinations of possibilities that could all potentially be true, but also none of them may be. So you need to get out of this mental plane and go straight for the wound, resolve that, and then come back with fresh eyes to the situation, to the people, and recover your position of emperor in this case. So thank you very much, Group 1. That's all I have for you. Take care. Bye for now. Group 2, hello, those of you who chose the Knight of Pentacles or the Abalone shell, thank you so much for being here. So let us get started on your reading. I think we're going to use the Radiant Rider-Waite. Yes, okay, Group 2. So let's get the story. What is the template? What is the karmic imprint that we're dealing with here? Okay. Eager to speak. It's a heavy one. It's a heavy one that drew out like fire. Okay. Naturally, the Judgment card coming through again, representing karmic results. So it feels as though you're waiting for a result. You feel like maybe you've done everything you can, and although your hope of getting that proper result that you want to feel is also paired with a worry and an angst that it will not come to pass, you feel as though you have done everything you can and your hands are free from the situation, and you're waiting. And it does feel like you're quite calm about this waiting. Or maybe you're in a slightly numbed state. And the energy that I'm feeling now, it's like a very slow fainting with an intoxication. And maybe now life just feels that way to you, where you're slowly waiting, things are out of your hands, you're walking along like a cloud, just floating through, not really connecting, not really feeling. Maybe it feels or seems a bit depressive to you, and you can sense joy, you can sense light, you can see it radiating from others, and maybe even you feel that spark is in you, that glow, but it's just all a little bit dull, and you don't feel like you can connect, but also you don't want to let go. It's like a limbo state. Four of Pentacles. Wheel of Fortune. Hierophant. Ace of Pentacles. Yeah, definitely feeling a stuckness, but on the other side of it, you have this knowing, this deeper knowing of your greatness, of your power, of your connection um, with the oneness, with Source, however you want to call it. You can feel that deep, deep, deep inside of you. Interesting. So there's an archangel that's part of this for you, and that is not necessarily a positive thing. Yes. So in this death that you were in, with that slow bleeding, perhaps there was some ritual involved with that as well, and you may have been a participant in the next incarnation in a temple life or a cult life. Not cult in the way that we use it in a modern sense, but like a sect of temple worshippers, or temple priests rather, initiates. And yes, so this is an imprint that you're carrying with you now. Perhaps you feel yourself to be very, very spiritual, or you know yourself to be very spiritual, and you're seeking knowledge, information through esoteric texts, endlessly trying to solve this problem of feels like a biological thing, like you're struggling with fatigue. There's constantly an issue with fatigue where you cannot collect the energy that you need to create what you'd like to create, or just to sense vitality or joy, or connect with that radiance, that glow of life that you can see and you know is there, but feels dulled within you, as we were discussing here through this imprint. There may be some well, like I said, there's ritual, so there was magic at play, and I would not say that it's a curse. I would say it's more like a coding, like a wrapping around your energy system that needs to be decoded and unbound, disconnected from you, so that you're no longer connecting with these old cults or temple collectives where your energy is being drained out into them. So that slow bleed is an energetic occurrence also. It's symbolized through blood rituals, but it's perpetuated incarnationally until it's reversed, because that coding stays in the energy structure of the soul level. So I just noticed that there's another card on the ground here. Let's get this one. Okay, just found this on the ground. So we have a Six of Wands in reverse. Yeah. Okay, so that's speaking about this result that you want, that you feel is true. Like you feel that you have this power and victorious spirit within you, but you can't access it. It all just feels really dull, and maybe that in and of itself is frustrating and leading to depression. Maybe you have adrenal fatigue, or cortisol is running too high, problems with the endocrine system, and you're not sure why. So that comes from the level of stress that your system is sending to you. It's like an alarm letting you know that there's a spell here. There's something that needs to be unwound. We need to be unbound from this old power, this old temple school. So you can make the decision here and now, making a nice strong connection with your inner being and just deciding that you're releasing yourself from that coding, from that ritual, from that temple. You're calling all your energy back, everything that you invested into that school, those hopes, those dreams, and perhaps even what you wished would come to you as a result that you're still seeking for now. De-invest yourself from any external powers that you think might be bringing this into fruition for you, because they won't. It's a parasitic trap. Yes, so your energy is being used and siphoned into other foreign projects that perhaps you would not choose consciously on your own, and you may not have allowed yourself to connect with this school had you known that this was the case. So you need to also call back your energy from where this school, this temple, this group or collective had invested your siphoned energy. But you may find it difficult to correct this by focusing simply on the biological and psychological levels. You need to go into the energetic portion of your system and into the spiritual, the soul level of your system, and decord and uncode this foreign channel that's been linked up to you. There's a no, I'm not going to go into that. So let's continue here for your group 2 and get some advice. Okay, a big sigh of relief here on the advice cards group. Group 2. Okay. So your advice group 2 is about uncreating these old contracts, whether it's through energy work or connection, just internal connection with yourself at the core that will radiate through all of your fields, all of your system, deciding to let go of that old contract, uncreating it. And maybe there were some not quite right reasons that you decided to join in the first place. So that's your responsibility to acknowledge and to correct. There's no judgment about it. There's no shaming about it. It's just about saying, yeah, you know what, that was a mistake, recognizing for what it was, and then making a decision to try it a different way next time. So getting the lesson from it so that you can just like close that down and not need to work with those energies anymore. Let's clarify this reverse Queen of Cups for you. So the Magician and the Five of Swords. Yeah, so that is speaking to where you maybe had a distorted vision or understanding of what the right way for you to proceed was. So why you joined those rituals in the first place. Maybe you were feeling a little bit exiled from a previous community and you thought you could find refuge with this one. And that does happen in a vulnerable state. You might not be seeing clearly where there are predators, and you may have misunderstood their true intentions and gotten involved in a situation that in the end led to some unwanted cycles for you. Yeah, so maybe there's some like petty conflicts that are echoing here and now from that old time. Maybe you decided that you were going to change the way that this temple did things, where you saw that things were not correct, you were going to correct them. Let it be. Let these people go from the past, and if they're in your presence now, let them go as well. Let them be who they are, so that you can be who you are. Group 3, hello, those of you who chose the Fool card or the Clamshell. Thank you so much for being here. So let's get started on your reading, Group 3. Let's start Group 3 by getting for you the baseline, the story of this imprint. It's not that I'm carrying around. Okay. One more card for you, group 3. Here we go. So this one was a little bit difficult to pull, maybe because of resonance, I'm not sure, but it feels like it's a very, very, very heavy memory, this one. There's a very deep, dark block, and I'm sorry for everything that you've been through. If this block is anything like what is being recreated in your experience now. But what I feel is that you are a very strong soul, an old soul, and you have the grit to get through this, or you did have the grit to get through if you're not currently in the situation, because right now we're just looking at what the template of this thing is. A lot of really powerful forces around you, working with you, and also against you, like a battle of dark and light through history, through time. And perhaps you were in the school of philosophy, of thought, of mind, of heart, of unity, of oneness, of integration, transcending the polarity, recognizing it as such, but wanting to make everything whole again. So your path was that of a constructive, enlightened teacher or monk or someone in a spiritual aspect. And perhaps it was not a career path in previous incarnations, it was more of an inner calling that you had a daily practice of. And quietly, maybe people in the community started understanding who you were and appreciated this and were learning from you, mostly in secret. And maybe at one point you were called into a royal house, into protection, in order to continue your works, but there was some sort of invasion and it did not end well for you. You managed to escape, but destitute, and were dying, I feel, from the elements. So after you were kicked out of this home, this palace where you were loved and protected, you did not fare so well out in the wild, where you perished. And here we are now. So why is it important for you to know this, group 2? Why does group 2 need to know this? Oh. Okay, makes sense. Okay, obvious, I suppose. It's important for you to know this because this is the current block that you're dealing with. This is a situation that is interfering with your progress. So maybe this is giving me a baseline of what you're experiencing now. It's like you're feeling like you have a lot of power, a lot of energy, but you have nowhere to, like there's no conduit to send it through. There's nothing to receive that energy. You feel blocked, like you're encased in stone. Very hard for you to move. Okay, Page of Cups. Here's the advice. How are we going to hear this? Page of Cups. High Priestess, the Star. And to clarify the High Priestess, please. Well, okay. Let's do it. Queen of Cups. 5 of Swords. Wheel of Fortune, the Moon. And the Queen of Pentacles. this is maybe going to be sound too simple for the level of difficulty that you feel in terms of breaking free from this petrification. But it is about this concept that you were fighting for earlier and applying it to the here and now. So you may have gone a little bit too far in the direction of resistance, of fighting against. And when you're fighting against, you're increasing, you're confirming the polarity. The polarity of Adam and Eve, masculine and feminine, positive and negative, electric, magnetic. So you're saying no, which implies a yes to something else, and you are definitely further articulating into your reality field more and more and more structures that manifest as experiences in the polarized state. So there's a lack of integration, and the conflict is like a very hard yes with a very hard no. So because you're resisting so much this paralysis, whatever that is physically showing up for you as, circumstantial, emotional, creatively, interpersonally, you're getting an equal and opposite force kicking back. So it's a little bit tricky here. You can't split yourself down any path. You need to do that very annoying piece of advice of surrender and not giving up, not going passive, but just shifting your state from, okay, I've been trying to solve this with fight, it's not working. Now I'm going to try to solve this with acceptance, with surrender. And there's no true word in the English language to convey what this really means, but it's a state of very active presence, full awareness. And within that field of awareness, you're not favoring any one thing. You're actively aware of all the particles, all the elements of the situation, that energy pattern of the situation, the field of that situation. So you're sitting within it, neutral but aware, and therefore fully connected, fully present, and you're not wrinkling anything by applying influence. Yes, no. So it should stabilize. Yes. In particular on the mental plane. Yes, so stillness of the mind, presence of the heart, and overall presence, full awareness. So let's get you some final advice, group 3. Ooh, okay, not that one, not that one, not that one. Like this one. King of Wands, sorry, Knight of Wands. Oh, what happened here? Something flipped over and did not come out. Yeah, maybe you feel like you do want to retreat, or like practicing what's been suggested is a form of retreat, and you fear that if you withdraw that the darkness will fill the space. So there's this sense like you're the fortification, you're the last stand against this incoming storm cloud of doom, and you don't want to surrender because you think that will allow destruction in. But what will happen actually is a transmutation. The storm will just vanish because it's feeding off of your input, your resistance. Yeah. Yes, so that was the advice. I think there's one more card for you, group 3. And by the way, after the storm passes, you don't just stop, right? So that's when you can pick it up and start influencing the situation into the creation that you want to make. But first you have to like shift your strategy to get out of this little like block phase and place yourself back on the most progressive path for you. Yeah, okay, so you don't need another card. We needed that clarification, so that's complete. And that's all I have for you today, group 3. Thank you so much for being here. Take care.